Stress, the stress of travel and how to reduce it. So that's what we're talking about today. Let me share we're live on Facebook, live on Instagram, and live on YouTube. Great. So today we are talking about getting ready for international travel. You probably know I am leaving on Wednesday for a trip to Panama. And so I'm right in the middle of packing. And so I wanted to share some of my tips for you in general to reduce stress. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you about my course. It's on sale now through Wednesday when I leave for Panama, and it's never going to be on sale at this price again. So you might want to check out my website at christineelder.com/travel. Okay, so just imagine you're getting ready for an international trip. Maybe you haven't traveled for a while and you're a little bit nervous, and you're just pulling your hair out like this, trying to get ready. But now imagine the night before you travel, you slept like a baby and you wake up and you have your tea or coffee and you go for a morning walk and you feel completely calm and ready to go. Doesn't that feel great? Well, that's what I want to help you to do today. And so, stress is really hard on the body. Um, it can, when you're stressed, like if you haven't prepared beforehand and you're packing the night before for your international trip, the effects on the body of stress are multiple. So, they make it hard for you to concentrate, to remember anything. They are hard on decision making and on memory. And yeah, even the easiest details you can forget. Like the other day, I actually was burning some popcorn in my microwave because I forgot about it. And I run in there and it's smelling and it's smoking. And in that chaos and stress, I couldn't even remember how to turn off the microwave. My roommate had to do it. So, stress just shuts you down and it's not the way you want to start a trip. So, I'm going to give you some of my best tips for doing that better. Okay. And so, firstly, is redundancy. You just want to really have redundancy in all of your processes, redundancy in where you've kept copies of your passport and where your itinerary is, and redundancy in the ways you can pay and get paid when you're traveling, all of that. And also, preparation. So, in my course, Travel Like a Pro, you get my epic guide and checklist to prepping and packing for adventure. And this checklist was built over years of international travel. Yeah, let me make sure here. We're live. Live. Yeah, we're live here. Yeah, let me make sure. There we go. Okay. Live. There we are. We are live. Yeah, we're live here. Yeah, let me make sure. There we go. Live. Okay. So that was a little stressful, but it's okay. I've done like 200 of these live online workshops and presentations, so no worries. So again, preparation and redundancy is really what you want to think about. And planning and packing for your adventure always takes longer than you think it's going to. And so I suggest starting really days beforehand. Like, I want you to have your luggage packed and sitting by the front door at least one day before you leave. Because, especially many times when we're taking an international trip, we have to leave the house before dawn and sometimes as early as 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning. So, it's hard enough to get a good night's sleep. So, make sure you're ready, okay? And you're going to want to pack as lightly and efficiently as possible. I'll show you what I pack. So I have a little purse where my money and my passport and my phone go. And then I have a backpack, and this backpack is what's called my personal item, that once it's filled, will be the perfect size to go under the seat of the airplane. And lastly, I have my carry-on luggage. And this, of course, I have measured beforehand because those sizes can really differ among different airplanes, especially if you're taking a smaller airplane, like in Alaska or to the Dry Tortugas or, yeah, something like that. So, you want to just be prepared already, understanding the sizes of your luggage you're supposed to have and the weight limits. And so that's something that can take a long time as well in terms of making sure you're not over your weight limits. Like for a checked bag, it's often 50 pounds. And so you don't want to be, throwing things in and out of your luggage the night before and weighing your luggage and being stressed that you can't get everything in there. So that's one of the first things. Now, like I said, in my course, I have this pre-trip planning checklist, and I'm going to just mention some of those things, and the rest of those links will be down below. If you're a member, you can download that. So again, redundancy and preparation are what's going to reduce stress. And remember, stress affects your memory, your decision making, and it's just not fun or good for your hormones. Okay. And you want to sleep well the night before. So you're going to go through your checklist, and some things on your checklist should be done over a month ahead of time, like making sure you've got your passport, and that your passport is good at least 6 months through the end of your trip, beyond the end of your trip. And you've made all your reservations, and you have copies of your reservations, your itinerary, and your insurance. Make sure, of course, you've updated your vaccines. We've talked about that in other videos, and that you've taken any kind of vaccine you need to. Like tomorrow, I'm taking my fourth, what is this? I forget what that's called. Typhoid medicine. So make sure you've done that. In terms of your phone, make sure you have all the apps on your phone that you need for your traveling, and for language. Or you might want to take a language phrase book, have that packed. Now, hopefully you've already gone to your bank and you've told them you're traveling so they won't freeze any of your credit cards, and you've gotten cash. Now, make sure you have smaller bills than this 50. Often local people like taxi drivers and things, you're going to want to just have small change, like things in $10 or $20 bills. Especially if you're traveling internationally, they might take US bills, but they have to be pretty small because they don't carry a lot of change. And then speaking of passports, make sure you've made a copy of your passport. I keep at least a couple copies in different places in my luggage in case it gets lost. In terms of clothing, now you want to have already assembled your wardrobe and be ready for the different conditions you'll have. And so make sure, yes, everything's washed and ready and ironed and packed. And clothing is a region of packing that often we overpack. So make sure that you've really thought about your clothing and don't take too much. Now, also speaking of clothing, you want to set out what you're going to wear the night before, especially if it's one of those pre-dawn flights where you have to, get in some airport shuttle at 3 in the morning, and you just don't want to think about anything. So I already have mine laid out for my trip. So this is what I'm wearing in my on the plane, something very nice and loose and comfortable. And of course, I'll have layers because it can get really cold in the plane. And making sure everything's well organized. And I have a whole nother video in another unit of my course about how to organize various things. And so I have all these little containers that keep my toiletries, keep my clothes, keep my technology all organized. Um, oh, yes, continuing thinking about clothes, make sure you're wearing shoes that are broken in and that you're really comfortable in. And generally, I always buy a brand new pair of insoles, like these super feet insoles. So my shoes will be nice and comfortable. These shoes are Patagonia clogs. I've had these probably over 10 years, but I keep resoling them and I keep putting new insoles in them, and they're totally comfortable as always. Now, let me see. I've got my little pile of demonstration things here. So, yes, so you've got your clothing, you know, your luggage, you know what you're packing. Make sure you have done most of your packing beforehand, like I said, because it's really easy to want to bring too much and be stressed at the last minute, not knowing what to bring if you haven't thought about that. And so that's something you should definitely do like the week before you travel, not the day before, but the week before. You should also give your travel itinerary to anyone that might need it. You know, pay all your bills beforehand. Maybe, of course, arrange transportation to and from the airport. Hold your mail subscriptions, you know, all of those kind of things that are easy to forget about. And yeah, let me keep looking here. This is a pretty detailed list that you get inside my course, Travel Like a Pro. Um, Now, it's really easy to forget some things at the last minute, things that you're still using at the last minute. So, like, don't forget your phone charger. It might be still plugged into your wall. That would be really easy to forget. So, you know, just make a list of those things that you're going to be using up to the very last minute that you don't want to forget. Um, and then, you know, when you're leaving, again, often it's very early in the morning and you don't want to think about very many things. So it's best to have a checklist. And I think of a checklist as kind of my boss, you know, like when you're running your own business, like I do, you're self employed entrepreneur. It's good to separate out the boss. Jobs from the worker bee jobs. And so the boss job is to create this checklist and print it out, and then you can just be the worker bee that checks everything off and you don't have to think at all. It's just so nice to have this checklist that your boss has already made for you. So you're not thinking. Again, that relieves a lot of stress. So now we've done what we need to do the month and the week before. Now that very morning you're leaving, try to get some exercise, especially if it's a long international flight. I love to get out in the morning if I can, before I'm stuck in airplanes and airports for 12 to 24 hours. So get a little exercise, make sure you eat healthy. You know, make sure you're closing down your house if no one else is going to be there. So, you know, turning down the heat, setting any kind of timers for your lights, watering the plants, all of those kind of things. So, I think that's a lot of my basic tips for reducing stress. Again, is having redundancy, having preparation, having checklists. Now, if you're interested in learning more about travel, of course, I have this course I've been telling you guys about because this is the 11th video in my series. And it might be the last one. I don't know, because I'm leaving on Wednesday for this 4-month trip to Panama, where I'm going to be volunteering with a wildlife education program. And when you join my course that you can learn more about at my website, christinelder.com/travel, then you can get, let me put a link to that if I can. You can get, there's my link. When you join my travel course at christinelder.com/travel, it's 30% off until Wednesday when I leave. And so when you join that, you're going to be getting automatic weekly updates from my trip. So this is not a vacation. This is a working trip. I've committed to volunteering for 4 months in Panama for a wildlife education and conservation program. And I'm going to be sending out weekly updates to my donors and my students. So not only weekly updates on the actual program, but since I'm going to be out in the field a lot in nature, I'm going to be filming. I've got new lights, I've got a new camera, I've got a new lavalier mic, a new tripod, all of those things to help you get higher quality videos from me. So, I'm going to be filming the sea turtles that are nesting on the coast. We're also going to have humpback whales. I'll be in coastal mangroves and tide pools, all the way up to steamy jungles and the cold, high cloud forests. And so I'll be sharing videos from there. I'll be sharing lots of nature sketching tips and painting and journaling tips. This is all going to be in the field. And I know usually you guys are used to having me doing free workshops every month, but I'm not doing any of that. I'm too busy for that. I'm really focusing on helping with this conservation project in Panama and creating really high quality programs for my students. And so the best way to do that is to join my course, christineelder.com/travel. Or join my Patreon page, which I'm going to be sharing links on my social media and in my email. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today in this quick tip video about how to avoid stress. Basically having plenty of preparation, plenty of redundancy, and using a really detailed checklist. So good luck, bon voyage, arrivederci, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.